Hello, atheists. Okay, so there was my previous video, there was comments made. I want to go through it. I'm going to go through it next time, though. Right now, I want to go through something I think is really important for atheists to understand. And I want everyone, as many people as possible who's watching, to subscribe. I've seen like over 40 viewers, if you guys are all atheists, let's say, on my previous video, that is. So if you guys are all atheists, I want you all to subscribe and follow me to actually hear me out. Hear the ins and outs of things I think are wrong with atheist views and things like that. And you're not going to hear me preaching God and trying to make you believe there's a God. Or believe that God created the world or anything like that you may not want to hear. I just want to go through things that are just flaws in the thinking of that I've heard from outspoken, big-named atheists. And people in the comment section I'm going to go through. If you make your comments, whatever it is, and I think this is something worth getting to, I think this is something atheists may be thinking in general that's bad for atheists to think because it's not true, it's not right, then I'm going to go through that as well. So I'm willing to interact, and I'm going to interact with, from my previous video, comments from there in my next video. Now I want to talk about fantasy in general. I think this is really important for atheists to understand. I think you need to understand that people have always lived in fantasy. It's just a reality. People live in fantasy. So in today's world, you can argue from an atheist perspective that people live in fantasy with their God, that they believe there's a God, they believe in the supernatural things from the Bible, they believe in all these things to be a reality. And as an atheist, you can argue that's a fantasy. And then as a religious person, you can argue that the atheist views of religion is a fantasy in itself. That's my argument. My argument is that the views atheists have of religion being this negative, horrible, disgusting thing we need to get rid of, and finding every possible thing they possibly can find and attributing it all to the religion being this horrible thing, that's atheists living in a fantasy. And throughout all of human history, we know that they believed in gods, they believed in deities of sorts, whatever they believed in fantasy. So I just think this is something that needs to be made clear to atheists, that you are not clean from living in a fantasy yourselves, being that most atheists do live in this world where they're hating on religion. That is most atheists. That's every atheist program I've seen, they generally find things to hate about. With atheists, every atheist speaker I've ever seen, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, I can't remember all these names right now, but there's a bunch of different names of atheists I've heard, and the Atheist Experience, every single member I've seen from the Atheist Experience, and comments even, and all these different other people, these videos the atheists have on YouTube, they generally find themselves just hating on religion as much as possible, and thinking religion is this cancer, this horrible thing we need to get rid of. And that the only way that works is if you're living in your fantasy of what I'd like to call atheist head. You have atheist head. Atheist head is viewing religion in the worst light, the most negative light possible. Theist head, religious head, whatever you want to call it, is the opposite. And this is real. You're a religious person, you're viewing in the positive lights, and you're an atheist viewing in the negative lights. So the question is, what's a better head to have to view the reality in? In the reality, what's real is the religious people, being that's their religion, viewing it in the positive light, the lights that they view it in, what they're viewing, how they're viewing it, that's the reality of what it is. The negative light that they don't view, that they don't see, that only the atheists see, is a false light. That's not really, it's darkness, it's fake, it's not there, it's not real. They're just basically asserting things and making things up that is not real. I can understand how they come to their conclusions. I can understand how they sort out, this is what comes from the religion. But are the religious people in the reality, in the real world, are the religious people in general, are they viewing it in that negative light? Are they seeing it in this horrible, bad way? And as far as they're concerned, it's not a horrible, bad way. See, that's a major problem. If religious people are doing that, then there's a case to be made for atheists that all these negative, horrible things are true. It's reality. Because that's what that's how religious people view it. That's how they teach it, but they teach it to be good, even though it's really bad. Then you're 100% in the right there, but that's not what it is. In reality, they're teaching these things that can be viewed in a negative light, in a positive light. And that's a good thing, and it's objectively a positive light. It's in a reality, in a good sense. So, we all find ourselves living in fantasy. It seems atheists aren't clean from this, and that's the takeaway I want you atheists to get from this. Understand, if you're viewing a religion in this horrible negative light, chances are you're not lining up with the views of the religion, with the religious people, then you got your atheist head on, and you're not actually viewing it through a theist head as I want you to view it through. Even if I'm not saying be a theist, I'm just saying view it through what I'll call a theist head. Anyhow, all the best. Thanks for watching.